Holy holy. Alrighty, howdy. So, mofos, my name's Jose Grande, aka Chinmonmon, and if you've been living under a rock, AMD's been a little bit in fire from destroying the Intel gang left and right. Every other freaking release into from like the first gen CPUs going from 12 nanometer to Intel only being a tiny little 14 nanometer, which in the CPU world is smaller is better. Essentially, the smaller you are, the more efficient you are. I mean, makes sense, right? So, I mean, Ryzen came with its own issues with version 1.0, and oh my gosh, I mean, from like playing well with RAM because it's like really dependent. So if you bought some, cheap ass RAM and or only had like enough for like two sticks, or their single channel, your Ryzen CPU will pretty much digivolve into poop. So. And with Windows not running really well, because if you got an old version of Windows, your Ryzen CPU would be like, man, like, what's with all the cores? And then, blue screen. And since the years passed by, you have Zen Plus, came, aka second generation, still at like 12 nanometer CPUs. Intel's 14 nanometer pretty much fixed all of the generation, 1.0 bugs. Most and was amazing because you're getting 8 cores, and I mean, while Intel still like, I guess we'll give you like 6 cores and we'll call it a day. So, and then came the third installment, the Donski's Day. Ryzen officially started hitting all gamers radar. I mean, like, wow. I mean, like, AMD's not a contestant or contestant, not anymore, but like a new king of CPUs. Wait, see. So pretty much single core performance would be either better or similar to Intel's. We're talking about Ryzen here. So the competition, but still beating Intel with, the core count, obviously. So applications like Adobe Premiere or other multi-core programs like streaming would make AMD pretty much the clear winner. And finally, in today's timeline, we got AMD. It has like the 500,000 series or 500, whatever you want to call it. There's a 5 in it. I don't know. They call it third gen. It's confusing. It's like, blah. But anyways, so we'll call it 5,000. So 5,000 series CPUs with performing better, slapping Intel's butt cheeks like with performance and multi-cores. So at this point, smaller nanometer size being 7 nanometer. Remember, smaller is better. And the CPU also better power consumption, and even their market share was better. And we were like, God damn. And this is wow, Intel's new CPU processor being available to the public is such a freaking big deal, because the new shiny i7-11700k, I think what it's called. I don't know. No, fucking 11700k, call it that. Pretty much here, and to fight its use it to fight competition, whatever, full force with the same old 14 nanometers, 14 nanometer. AMD's already on 7 nanometer, and yes, at least they gave you 8 cores and 16 threads, which is awesome. So that's good. So at least we're in the core battle count, and oof. It's not looking good. So to give you an idea of how this thing performs, it's a little slower than a 5800X while still eating up, more juice. Looks like it's eating around 125 watts. I mean, I remember my i7-920 when that was back in 2009. That thing was like 130 or 140 watts, and that was back in like 2005. So to give you an idea, that's a lot of wattage. But I mean, again, you have a 14 nanometer architecture, and they're shoving 8 cores in there and 16 threads, so I'm kind of not surprised. While AMD is hitting 105 watts, way cooler, still getting the 8 cores, 16 threads, and I mean, we already know they're hitting 12 cores and slap that 16 core. You got Threadripper, they're just a monster. And I feel like the chip's probably on its limit. Talking about Intel's, by the way, and remember, this chip is still a 14 nanometer chip. I cannot emphasize that. So it's like a Honda Civic shoving a big ass turbo trying to race a freaking Bugatti. So with a big wattage means that this thing roasts pretty much toasty. You could probably, cut bread and butter and then freaking bake it and make a cheese grill sandwich or something. But while this is bad, I mean, I'm surprised Intel shoves a full 8-core 16 threads in there. And it's kind of amazing how Intel perfected the 14 nanometer architecture, to be honest, and does know how much work they did in this architecture. It's crazy. I mean, they've been camping on the 14 nanometer. I don't know what generation they started, but I know the 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th. I think they've all been 14 nanometer for like ever. But yeah, I mean, how was this CPU able to be available so early? I mean, what happened, It must be some crazy thing, right? Because it's not available. It shouldn't be available yet. And yeah, the dude that posted everything just bought one on retail. That's literally it. So like, yeah, that's it. Like really, that's it. I mean, at the end of the game, there's not a lot of computer parts available. We already know with the whole COVID thing, you can't get any freaking video cards. You can't get nothing, let alone CPUs. My son's computer I freaking got for him, I got him a 3700X, paid 5700X prices for that CPU. So I mean, and that was last year, and then right now it just got even worse. I mean, people selling 1050 Ti's for like $400, $500, $600. Man, I'm like, I forgot that if you wanted a 3080, usually retail was around the 800. So I'm like, God damn. Now we all know that with COVID sucking, like I said, it's killing anyone buying computer parts in tech stores like Fry's, Fry's becoming Circuit City. Just having anything available would sell, and it looks like this is the best they can do. So I mean, hooray for having something available you can buy. So I give them props for that, and that's about it. So if you're looking for one, you can freaking buy one. But do you really want one? I mean, man, that's the thing about it. I love that we have competition now, because we didn't have competition before. And if you don't have competition, people kind of sit on their ass. And we saw that with Intel. Intel just sat on their ass and they didn't do. And now that AMD came, it's just like, wow. They just came and just slapped those cheeks like goddamn, like. It's freaking crazy. So yeah, let me know about it. What do you guys think? Are you buying one? Because I'll be real, if I needed one, I still wouldn't buy one. Kind of went AMD side now. But what do you guys? Is it worth it? Let me know. See you soon. Bye.